Next up, the usefulness of the balance sheet. The balance sheet is used to provide capital structure. What is that? That is debt versus equity. How much debt versus equity do you have? Well, if you have a lot of debt, maybe that's not good. If you diluted the equity too much and you issued too much stock, maybe that's not good either. So people want to see that. Rates of return. Well, you can see what's your return on assets. How much money are you making for how much assets do you have? So all those financial ratios, which we'll see in another section, we'll see throughout. Definitely be familiar with all of those financial ratios. You'll see in audit and VEC as well. So kind of killing three birds with one stone. I'm not too violent. I don't want to kill any birds, but not harmful to overstudy formulas because you'll see them so much throughout the whole exam. And financial ratios to users of the financial statements. So as an investor or a creditor, who these are the main users of the financial statements, what do you want to see? Right? Like, what do you want to see? What's important to you? The balance sheet can provide liquidity, solvency, and financial flexibility ratios. Again, something to study up on in another chapter, but just this is the importance, right? This is importance to see how healthy the company is. We talk about having a healthy balance sheet. Not a lot of debt, more assets, that's a healthy balance sheet. All right. What do we have here? Well, limitations of the balance sheet. Okay, well, assets and liabilities, for the most part, are stated at historical cost. Now, what are some exceptions to this? Well, cash is obviously going to always be valued at, cash is cash. So, I mean, to call it fair value is $1 equals $1. Also, investments will be stated at fair value, not historical cost. But, inventory, land, items such as those that are not constantly revalued are going to be at historical cost. Same with liabilities. Those are your debts. Those are limitations. You're not getting necessarily an accurate value immediately of updated prices right now. Right now, I could go look up what's the price of a stock online. Now, that's the fair value for what people are trading it at. But on the balance sheet, even Microsoft, if you want to look at their balance sheet, it's not constantly updated. Judgments and estimates are used in determining many of the items. So this is something we'll see in our contingencies and commitments section. If you've got a lawsuit coming in, maybe a really big lawsuit, you don't really know what it's going to settle at. You don't know if you're going to have to pay out a lot of money or if they're going to rule in your favor. So you don't know. So you're going to use an estimate. How much of our receivables will we collect? Because unfortunately, plenty of people don't pay you, right? Like they buy things from you, but then they maybe go bankrupt, they default, they don't pay you what they owe you. So that is a judgment call. How much do we expect to really collect? And that's what our AR is going to be listed as, net of allowance for doubtful accounts. Does not report items that cannot be objectively determined. So that could be anything. If we've got some sort of intangible that we can't really objectively determine, if we've got maybe a moat, we've got a business incentive or advantage over someone else, there's not really a way to possibly objectively determine that. That's just another limitation. And then does not report information regarding off-balance sheet financing. This isn't something we'll really see too much, but if you've got financing agreements that don't involve your classic debt and equity that you would see on your balance sheet, that is something that would be hidden. Like if you've got some sort of subsidiary or other entity that you're possibly financing through, that could be clouded there. So that's a limitation. Here's just another classification breakdown. We've got assets and liabilities and equity, just different items you'll see. We'll get quite familiar with these throughout the exam. I'm not too worried about spending time on this one.